Picture waking up one morning to discover your money is suddenly worth half as much as yesterday. That is exactly what happened to millions of ordinary people during the turbulent year of 1973. The global economy shifted dramatically during one chaotic and unforgettable month. This is far more than a dry history lesson from a textbook. The echoes of that crisis still quietly haunt your bank account today. A small group of world leaders ended up changing the price of nearly everything. You can feel the impact whenever your weekly groceries cost more than expected. The roots of that financial pressure stretch back more than 50 years. The story begins with sudden conflict erupting in the Middle East. Several nations clashed over land, political power, and regional influence. The confrontation became widely known as the Yom Kippur War. The United States made the decision to support its closest allies. Weapons and significant financial aid were quickly sent overseas. Major oil-producing nations were furious at Western involvement. They chose to use oil exports as strategic leverage. For the first time, energy became a powerful political weapon. OPEC officially announced an oil embargo against the United States. Shipments to several supportive Western countries were also halted. Global energy markets were shaken with unprecedented force. The economic consequences arrived with brutal and immediate speed. Before the crisis, oil cost roughly $3 per barrel. Within just a few months, the price surged to $12. That represented a stunning 400% increase in record time. Think about your rent suddenly quadrupling within a single season. Every household felt that violent financial shock ripple through daily life. Families were completely unprepared for such extreme rising costs. Most people drove large vehicles that consumed fuel very quickly. Those heavy cars became painfully expensive to operate overnight. Long lines formed outside gas stations across the nation. Drivers waited patiently for hours to receive only a few gallons. Some stations ran completely dry and shut down entirely. Panic slowly spread through cities and small towns alike. Gas purchases were restricted according to license plate numbers. Cars with odd numbers filled up on designated days. Vehicles with even numbers had to wait their turn. Frustration intensified as normal routines were disrupted everywhere. The crisis extended far beyond simple commuting problems. Fuel costs are hidden inside nearly everything you buy. Food often travels thousands of miles before reaching stores. Trucks and cargo ships consume enormous amounts of diesel fuel. When fuel prices rise, shipping costs climb sharply as well. Businesses almost always pass those higher costs to consumers. Your grocery bill quietly absorbs those increases over time. Staples like milk and eggs become unexpectedly expensive. Few people fully understand this hidden chain reaction. The oil shock introduced a troubling term called stagflation. Prices soared upward while overall economic growth stalled. Wages remained flat even as living costs exploded. Savings lost purchasing power faster than people could replenish them. Families struggled to protect their long-term financial security. Traditional economic rules suddenly felt unreliable and broken. Many businesses simply could not survive higher energy expenses. Manufacturing sectors suffered especially severe and lasting damage. Steel and automobile factories faced collapsing profit margins. Mass layoffs pushed unemployment to painfully high levels. The once stable middle-class dream felt deeply threatened. People realized foreign powers influenced their everyday lives. Governments began seriously rethinking national energy security policies. Domestic oil exploration gained new urgency and funding. Lawmakers searched intensely for ways to reduce dependence. This historical turning point still matters profoundly today. We are once again living through similar global tensions. Energy prices remain volatile and frustratingly unpredictable. Geopolitical conflicts continue shaping global markets behind the scenes. Green energy transitions add another layer of uncertainty. Ignoring economic history leaves you financially vulnerable. Preparation becomes absolutely essential during unstable cycles. Your household budget needs room for sudden spikes. Without meaningful savings, shocks become devastating very quickly. The government responded with several emergency measures. National highway speed limits were reduced to 55 miles per hour. Officials hoped slower driving would conserve precious fuel. The Strategic Petroleum Reserve was also officially established. Oil was stored as a national emergency safety cushion. These measures offered only limited and temporary relief. They did not solve deeper structural energy problems. Real change eventually came from consumer behavior shifts. People began purchasing smaller and more efficient cars. Fuel economy quickly became a major selling point. Japanese automakers gained rapid popularity across America. American manufacturers struggled to adapt to changing demand. The crisis unexpectedly created both winners and losers. Adaptability ultimately determined survival in harsh markets. That powerful lesson applies directly to your own life. Dependence on fragile systems quietly creates vulnerability. Smart investors constantly assess hidden and emerging risks. Energy costs also reshape how cities are designed. Cheap fuel once encouraged widespread suburban expansion. Long daily commutes felt manageable and affordable. Expensive gasoline reversed that comfortable trend quickly. Living far from work suddenly became financially draining. Property values shifted in strange and unexpected ways. Urban centers experienced renewed demand and interest. Public transportation systems gained fresh national attention. Walking-friendly neighborhoods became more desirable again. The physical structure of cities quietly evolved. Central banks faced enormous pressure during rising inflation. The Federal Reserve raised interest rates very aggressively. Borrowing money for homes or businesses became far more expensive. Home ownership felt increasingly unreachable for many families. Higher rates intentionally slowed economic demand nationwide. Inflation eventually cooled, but financial pain intensified. Debt burdens became heavier for average working households. Balancing growth and stability proved extremely delicate. We are witnessing similar economic patterns unfold today. Global markets remain deeply interconnected and sensitive. Changing one major price inevitably affects countless others. Oil functions like the bloodstream of modern industry. When supply tightens, the entire system reacts immediately. Energy policy influences housing markets and retirement plans. Staying informed helps protect your personal wealth. Distant conflicts can quietly impact your wallet tomorrow. Technology now offers better tracking tools than ever. We can monitor spending and usage with digital precision. Basic human needs, however, remain exactly the same. Food, warmth, and transportation still require steady energy. Modern societies therefore remain vulnerable to disruption. Information spreads across markets in mere seconds. Financial reactions now happen faster than ever before. Speed amplifies both potential gains and sudden losses. Diversification remains one of the strongest protective strategies. Relying on a single income source increases overall risk. Multiple income streams provide valuable flexibility during downturns. Asset diversification cushions unexpected economic shocks. Those prepared during the 1970s recovered much faster. The same timeless principle still applies right now. Flexibility allows you to pivot quickly during change. Comfort and routine can quietly create dangerous exposure. Energy crises tend to follow recognizable long cycles. Several major shocks have occurred since 1973. Each crisis appeared slightly different from the last. Lessons were learned but never perfectly applied. Future disruptions may emerge from entirely unexpected places. Cyber attacks could easily target energy infrastructure systems. Natural disasters may severely disrupt global supply chains. The trigger matters less than the financial outcome. High prices consistently threaten long-term stability. Personal efficiency strengthens resilience over the long run. Simple lifestyle adjustments can reduce exposure significantly. Better home insulation lowers heating and cooling costs. Driving efficient vehicles reduces long-term fuel dependence. Supporting local producers shortens vulnerable supply chains. Small, consistent steps compound meaningfully over time. Resilience grows through disciplined and steady habits. Preparation almost always outperforms panic-driven reactions. Take time to review your monthly budget carefully. Identify expenses closely tied to fluctuating fuel prices. Consider commuting costs, heating bills, and groceries. Ask yourself how doubling those costs would feel. Would your current finances withstand that kind of pressure? Many households still lack sufficient emergency savings. Building a financial cushion begins with small actions. Intentional spending builds lasting long-term strength. The 1973 oil shock permanently changed global thinking. It exposed the hard limits of finite resources. Environmental awareness began expanding more rapidly afterward. Research into alternative energy accelerated significantly. Solar and wind power once seemed unrealistic. Today they represent essential components of energy supply. Societies are still adapting decades later. Fuel prices reflect deeper struggles over power and policy. They signal important shifts beneath the surface. Understanding context dramatically reduces financial fear. Prepared individuals respond with calm and confidence. Knowledge strengthens long-term financial decision-making. The most powerful lesson remains consistent preparation. Do not wait for dramatic crisis headlines. Strong financial foundations require steady, disciplined effort. Look carefully for hidden costs in daily life. Recognize how deeply connected the world truly is. Your personal budget interacts with global systems daily. Stay curious about powerful economic forces shaping markets. Continuous learning creates a durable long-term advantage.